Okay, I'm here at Rhode Island, here in a lever dungeon basement of sorts. There's Ryan there. Today, we're just going to show off a ton of different machines. You've seen him before on some of the live streams. It was like a 3-4 hour long live stream. There's kind of an edited version of that, so if you want to check out what his collection looked like 2022, check that out. But otherwise, we're going to look at the updated collection. We're actually going to use a real camera now to record some of the videos. You're probably going to see a few videos from this because I think there are some machines here and some things like Saka, some really unique coffees that we want to show off. Just dedicated videos for each of those, but otherwise, I want to show off, his collection, the work he's put in, and all of that in this coffee hobby. It's quite amazing. So I really hope you guys enjoy some of this. It's gonna just, it's like you're hanging out with us.
Who are you?
Who am I? So I'm Ryan. I live in Rhode Island. We've been here for like on and off since 2006, in the same house basically. There was a 5-year stint where we were in Italy. My dad was former military. We were in 6th Fleet, so I picked up the hobby while over there because we lived in Naples, so that's where the lever obsession came from. I now work for the government. I do stuff with them. It helps fund my hobby. I also live at home with my parents. Not like neckbeard style though. But, yeah, we have a good relationship. But it allows me to not have to pay rent. That's like ridiculous, and afford the hobbies and also have the space since they're very nice. They're super nice actually to allow me to take over this corner of the basement plus the dining room upstairs. Thank you very much if you're watching this. But I've been collecting for I bought my first machine. I was 2017. Yeah, June of 2017 as a little Pavoni. So I started collecting six years ago now. It's a long time. I was like 19 or something. I bought my first machine. Wow, wasn't that 19 or 20? But it started out small. I only bought the little machines. I got a Bosco though. In 2018, that was my first big machine, and then it kind of kept growing. I deal primarily in 1 and 2 group machines because 2 groups are just that big of a pain to move compared to even the 2 groups, which are already a massive pain. The 1 groups are nice. I like to move those. I have 27 machines right now. I got a 28th machine that's currently in Germany, in Munich, and then I got 4 hanging out in Italy, actually, that I have pre-purchased. I just haven't decided to ship them yet because I'm not ready to work on those yet. But yeah, in this house, there's 27 machines.
Why all of these old machines? Like, why do you like this instead of the new stuff?
Because I don't have to think about things failing. So I don't have any solenoid valves, no SSRs, no weird little touch screens having to fail from the heat. This is all just gaskets, valves, and big old spring levers. It sometimes has some wear though. This is a little worn. It works though. This one's better though.
Okay. Yeah. So you can't do that on some of those fancy touch screen machines nowadays.
Yeah. Touch screens. I can't believe that those are gonna burn out so quick. I bet that's my prediction. No, the real thing is I just like to tinker with the old stuff. There are differences among a lot of the brands like Grancilio, Pavoni, Faema, Gaggia, Cimbali, all those brands. They got their own little take on what they think is a good espresso machine. Some machines are easier to work on than others. This is a nice machine to work on. If you're gonna work on a machine, do a San Marco. Those are really nice to work on. Very easy and well thought out maintenance and materials selection. There's nothing that really rusts outside of the frame. Yeah, little thoughts like that, and then I can do the comparison, and then I just like to use the machines once they're fixed up, if I can. Some machines I don't really use as much. They're actual collector pieces. I got a few really rare ones. And I can't use them here because I don't want to, or it's a small issue, or I'm a little scared to use it if I dink it or something, to be honest. Or they have a really ass material selection like this guy, the Cimbali Rubino with the aluminum lid. Don't ask me why.
Yeah, we're going to go and take a look at all the different machines around here and have Ryan tell you a bit about it. I mean, there's just so much history here and a lot of crazy stuff. So we're gonna go look at the collection down here in the basement and then upstairs as well. Let's take a look at all the machines down here, what's currently being worked on. I mean, you can definitely follow a lot of what Ryan's been working on his Instagram, YouTube, and also some of the home barista, Reddit as well. I mean, if you Google some of these machines, you will find a photo from this guy. You know, some of the stuff like the La Pavoni Eurobar. You Google that machine, it's the first.
Is it the first?
It's one of the first images. I know if you look up.
If I post on Reddit, it usually is one of the first images.
Yeah, so just really, really rare machines, especially taken with, you know, high quality images and all of that. Like you rarely see some of these machines with you know, such high resolution photos
on my 2012 camera.
On your 2012 camera, yeah,
it's an icon.
Yeah, it looks good. But the point is like, this is a guy who's been documenting all these machines, and it's just history being made. Well, history already made, but, you know, represented today instead of, you know, some really low resolution photo. You can see the close-ups and all of that.
Well, that really irked me because, we did the intro already, but part of the reason I work on these machines and I'm so thorough at documentation is I see other people with the same machines, but they don't show shit.
Yeah, it's like photos taken with a potato like 20-something years ago.
Or it's from like, it's either 20 years ago, or they don't really show off what they did.
Yeah.
They just say, hey, I worked on it. It's like, okay, how'd you do that? How did you get this to work? Did you find any issues? Did you have to repair something? Where did you get your parts? So we can start with this little guy right here. His body panels are actually down there, just because it's easier to move if I take off the body panels. But this is a Cimbali Rubino first series. Now they made a couple of versions of the Rubino. This is their first one, and then there's a more common second. I think there's a third version technically, but the later machines are much more common compared to this one. I think I know of maybe 10 max that I know of that exist of this model. It's a very rare machine, and I know that because multiple people have reached out and asked to buy it. And I'm like, no. There's no price right now for this machine. But this one has a this machine is cool because, and the reason why I was happy to get it is because this has a very unusual group. It's a spring lever, but it doesn't use a regular spring. It uses a watchmaker spiral torsion style spring. So it's
wow.
So yeah, instead of a vertical lever, it's two massive torsion spiral springs, and then it has a cam. So it's kind of like the old Gaggia lever groups where there's it's a pinion and rack system. So you got the rack is the vertical part. So if you see the gear, you can see, so you got the rack on the back and the pinion here. So when you rotate the lever, like so, it will, as you pull down, it will pull the piston up.
Oh, wow.
And the rack actually has machined grooves in the rod itself, such that I can actually let go, and it's in a pre-infusion state. And then when you're ready, I don't want this to pop off. When you release it, it'll relax itself essentially. Now we're going back. It's a really cool group head, but I just very sad. I don't know what I'm gonna find if I open up that lid. Basically, Cimbali, I wish you really made your stuff in brass. That would have been much nicer. But yeah, so this is the Rubino. So right after this group, they went to a more modern Cimbali group that's seen on machines like the Gran Luce and a few other machines. But I'm really happy to at least have this guy. The paneling is all original. So Cimbali was kind of cool in that they would chrome their body panels, if you look down there, and they would do like the engine turning. So that's not stainless, that's chrome. So they took a copper panel, they chromed it, and then they machined a little texture onto the panels. So it would be very expensive to re-chrome in that style, basically, is what I'm getting at. I guess the last tidbit is this boiler. It's the same boiler. They use the same style of boiler. It's like either copper or stainless. It goes all the way through to Cimbali Eleva, so the machine upstairs that you'll see at some point uses the same style of boiler. It's just a different, more updated lid that's not made of aluminum, thank God. But like they've had this fitting. Like you'll see that same fitting upstairs if I show you it off. But yeah, at least if nothing else, for some things, Cimbali was nice and consistent on what they did. So that's this machine. This is an aluminum housing, I think. There we go. It's like that's the old school one from like they used that through like the 30s and the 40s, I think. OCG. So I believe it's Officina Cimbali Giuseppe, or it could be Cimbali Gruppi. I don't know. And then portafilter. It's kind of a cool little sign. There's no basket spring. Nope. No clip. Just so that was actually a big question I had. It's like, what happens when the barista pulls a shot? How do they knock out the old coffee? It's actually much harder to answer than you'd expect because there's not much documentation on like such a little mundane thing. It's just like, hey, what did you actually do here? The collection of spare fittings that may or may not fit something if I'm looking for a thing. This doesn't include the pipe fittings that I can make either. It's like primarily British standard pipe threads, BSPP parallel threads. You can buy taper, but usually it's parallel. These are some of the parts I have for the Gran Luce. There's not actually many left. It's mostly just screws for those body panels to your left. Basically is what that is. But this was the box that I would organize a lot of the little parts in when I had it in pieces. Sometimes I'll do that. Sometimes I just have it scattered. I use this shelf a lot for it. And then when I'm done, I'll take a lot of the original parts for various machines I work on. I'll hold on to them. So I have like original gaskets, old bolts I couldn't use, or I did a modification. Has the gas regulator in there. Oh, broken pipe as well. It burst or froze. I hope it didn't freeze. There's like two. It failed at some point. I found two pipes like that actually. But yeah, all those other boxes, those are all original parts for various machines I've worked on. Or original pieces I didn't reuse. So Internazionale. It's got a bracket piece. This was the sight gauge that it came with. Yes, that's not glass. It's a tube with copper inserts. We don't. Original heating element. I don't think it works. I believe it's broken. But it's like old stuff like that. Original nuts, bolts. Yeah, I'll even keep the broken stuff just to have the story behind it. I can show you something like that in a second. But yeah, those are all original machine parts that I didn't reuse or just wanted to hold on to. Right here's another machine from that guy in New York I bought from. This is another Faema Urania, but it's the earlier series. So they call it the first series, but basically if it has this metal grill piece instead of a glass, you can consider that like an earlier version, or at least in style. This has the old Faema boiler, so the big dipper style boiler. That thing is huge.
Yeah.
The lid for that boiler is iron.
Iron?
It's magnetic.
Wow.
I can stick a magnet to it.
This is from a guy he met up in New York. You see the story about that in the new video about that guy over there. But yeah, you bought a lot of machines.
Six machines. So same guy actually. The little Cimbali you just saw. That's from the same collector. There's also 3 grinders behind that I also bought from. So 6 machines and 3 grinders. Don't trip. So it's the Magdabar, the Rialto, and then the Gaggia. I actually have 2 of those now. That was an extra. I now have. So yeah, that's from the guy in New York. That guy I bought in Portugal is a Faema Lambro. He's in timeout. He has a failing braze on a boiler fitting for the lower sight glass. So I made a new pipe for it. That pipe worked, but apparently I started tearing the solder or braze, whatever it was, on the boiler fitting, and I have to take it all apart again, and I don't really want to do that right now. So he's in timeout, like I said. The Pavoni behind it, I actually bought from the same guy in Portugal. That's a P67. It's from the 60s, 1967. He's just, there's not much to say to it. It's a cool machine. I like the 70s / industrial look, where it uses a lot of brushed stainless steel or like colored panels, powder coated usually. It works. I just haven't used it too much. Not much to say to it. That's the smallest. Actually, that's the smallest configuration. They made a big one group and a little one group. So he's the 5-liter. They also made a 10-liter version of it.
Oh, and then that is totally a Faema E61, right?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a fake president. Don't worry. That's from the same guy in New York. So 4 of those machines that we just went through, that's from all that same guy. Actually, that's the fifth. That's the fifth. Or I'm sorry, no, that's 3 down there. So 1, 2. So the Faema President with the E61 glass, the Cimbali Rubino, and then the Faema Urania. Number 4, the Gran Luce. This was the first machine I've actually worked on that I bought from him. That's a cool machine. Of course, there will be. I know there's a separate video that I'll be going into it more, but it's a hydraulic machine. So instead of a spring lever, it's replaced with water pressure.
Yeah, very cool. And then you have the President that is in pieces.
Yeah, the President in pieces. I actually bought that locally while I was in Italy. It was 5 minutes away in the town I lived in. Yeah, literally in Grigignano di Aversa. It's like I bought it from a guy there. I was like, yeah, that was a crazy one. I didn't expect that. That was right as we were moving back in 2019. I bought it the month or two before we left. I've been working on it, so take a look here. So when I worked on it originally, this was one of my first projects. So there's some things I've been doing differently now that I have it in pieces. So at the time, I didn't have my fancy ball door polishing or buffer, I guess you would say, buffing machine. So I can only sand it and like hand polish it basically at the time. So what I've done since then, if you go over here, is I've already cleaned up one of the groups. So you can see this guy here. So it's a lot less cloudy. So did the polishing on the buffer since then. Might be a little hard to see, but it's nice and shiny now. I also redid the stainless steel panel. So this is stainless. I hand sanded that, and then I buffed it also on the ball door. And then I also did it for the aluminum feet. So the feet and the upper groups are aluminum, and then the actual panels are stainless. But yeah, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
And then the cover is out all the way over there. That has RGB. Oh,
yeah. Has the RGB tech. Has the RGB tech for sure. So I'm just waiting on the boiler getting repaired. Keep poking my guy. He's been busy, but I'm not in a hurry. So the President and the Gran Luce are the machines they're actually working on right now. He works. This is a San Marco Type 75. It's a 2 group. There's a very small version of it, the San Marco 75 Export. That's pretty sought after because it's nice. It's very tiny. It's like about yay big. It's like half the width of this guy, and it's actually probably a reasonable machine to use at home. I got this guy from a friend in Rome, so he also collects machines. He's from Calabria, San Francesco. He sold me 3 machines that I'll point out as we walk through. But this was one of the machines, and the other 2 are upstairs. The San Marco machine's nice and easy to work on. I did a full strip down restoration, and yeah, the espresso itself is fine. I had an issue with one of the pipe fittings, but I got that worked out. And yeah, that's where we're at with this guy. I was gonna use this originally, but then I got the Gran Luce working in the last week, so he's just hanging out.
A lot of machines are kind of just hanging out.
Yeah.
But, a lot of the machines do work, right? And, they make great coffee, and it's just such a, amazing display of craftsmanship. Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah. This one I did not redo any of the surfaces, so you'll see all the age on it, all the little scratches. Mm-hmm. You can even see someone had paint splatter.
Oh, there's a paint splatter.
I don't know how that happened, but here we go. Yeah, it definitely shows the age. It's kind of neat. I like it. Yeah, I also do that because it's very expensive to redo any of these surfaces. What if you want to rechrome? Powder coating's not too bad, but if I powder coat this, then this kind of looks bad since it's old and has scratches. I have not learned how to make brushed stainless yet.
Malwani
Livi. Just used with all the fresh coffee hanging out.
Okay, now we're going to go back upstairs, check out the collection up here. Okay. We're upstairs.
In the lounge chair. That's temporarily there due to the Christmas decoration.
There used to be a church bench here.
It's in a garage. We're gonna probably get rid of it. So we can talk about this guy. This is from that same group of 6 machines I bought. Of all the machines I own, this is probably the rarest machine I own. As far as I know, this may be just one in the world. Like there's no other machines out there like it. With this style of body panels and the group it uses. This is also a hydraulic machine. It's not a lever machine. So it uses uses water to force a big piston here up, and then it will then go back down to make the brewing pressure on the smaller piston. Force multiplier for the brewing pressure. Like I said, only one in the world. I am told there's supposedly some others out there, but nobody sent me pics. So until I see the pics, that didn't happen. This machine is partially why I bought the collection. I saw pictures of it, but you can't really appreciate it unless you're in person as much. It's a very incredible machine. It's a La Cosmo. It's a very, very small brand. They were in Milan. I believe they helped Cimbali and a few other larger companies with some stuff, but they only made, I don't know how many machines they made, but this is literally the 376 machine they made. It's from 1956. That does light up. It has the original, I think it's a fluorescent light just hanging out in there. But it's very well preserved, original. I'm not sure when I would work on this machine, just because I don't want to mess anything up if I have to. I have taken a look inside the boiler. It does not seem to be made of anything suspicious. It's copper and a brass lid, which is nice. This will be a TBD on when I would work on it. If you come over here, this was the second machine that I bought from Francesco. This is a San Marco 69. It's the model before the 75 downstairs. It's a very large machine. It's a one group. It's only 6-liter boiler, but it's like, this is 23 inches by 18 inches deep.
Single boiler.
Single
group, yeah.
6-liter boiler. That's the first machine that uses the modern 54 millimeter San Marco group heads, like the Itzo machines, Nori machines, ACS, all those guys. That's the predecessor to all of those machines. Mm-hmm. So back then, they were fancy enough. They stamped the number. Like, this is the 1,326 group they made. Yeah, there's a number in there.
Oh yeah, you see it.
Yep, there it is. Has like a serial number, basically.
Yeah.
Serial number group it. They stopped in like the 70s or 80s. I don't think the San Marco 80 has that style of group it, or maybe the early ones. But going up to here, this is the Bosco, the famous Bosco.
The Bosco.
Yes, the Bosco. This one's from 2018. Fortunately, I heard that the founder died yesterday, Attilio Bosco. He passed away. Very sad. Rest in peace, Attilio. But this is a very nice machine to use. I really like the paddle joysticks, and I like that the hot water wand is over the drip tray, and it's actually usable, so I can take my porta filter and just rinse it out here without having to do anything or having to flush the group or anything. Been using this on and off since like 2019 or 2020, but the only thing I've had to replace so far is the vacuum valve. Everything else is fine.
Is this the most modern machine?
Yeah, this is the newest machine I own. Yeah, it's the only machine that has an autofill as well. It's hiding in here. So yeah, you got the manual. You still got a manual fill, but been using this thing. It's pretty nice. It's a nice machine. I think now that I have 220, I may have ordered it in 220 now, but because 2,000 watts is pretty high for 20 amps, and I got automatic timers that turn the machine on, and they burn through those once every few years usually. Yeah,
but this is a really interesting machine because I think a lot of people also pull very modern styles of coffee on this. Like, you got people pulling ultra fast light roast turbos on a Bosco. Pretty cool.
It's not the only machine that can theoretically do that, by the way. So, that's the Bosco. Got the traffic cone. So the reason why I got orange is there's some bars down in Naples called Bar Mexico. Everything's like neon orange, super traffic cone orange. And I was like, I gotta have that for my machine. San Marco's like that too. This is like 70s and 80s thing. They did that a lot as well. This is probably the most famous quote unquote rare machine I own. It's a Gaggia Internazionale one group. They didn't make too many of those. It's like 30 or 40, I think. I think it's still around that. They don't find these very often. It's a very iconic shape. It's like jet engine. It's based off of the Ferrari 500, I believe, from like the 50s, like the inlet, the intake for that. And looks like you're taking off when you're using the machine. It does work. I have pulled espresso on it. The lid has an issue. I just haven't fixed it yet. Have to pop off the lid to get to it. It's a very rare machine. I really like it. It's a cool machine. This is the most expensive machine, by the way, of all these that I paid for. It's not over 10,000 euro, but it's kind of close.
Nervous sweats.
Well, the second most expensive machine is actually right next to it, and that was like half the price. That's the Faema Marte. So this was from 1956. This one's from 1957, I think. This has the concave group. So if you come around here, you can see it more easily. So it's like the group curves inwards. It's pretty cool. I really like the shape. Heavy duty machine. It's a saturated dipper lever.
From the 50s, which is interesting.
Yeah, from the 50s. So there's water. There's just water that would hang out inside, just surrounding the piston above the above the top seal.
Really, you got RGB and shit.
That does have. Oh yeah, I didn't
yeah,
show
you gotta show that.
I gotta show that. Yeah, RGB. Just like the cube. Let's see this guy. Look at that. Some people say I've gone too far with coffee tech. I say we haven't gone far enough. That light, that machine's supposed to have a neon light, but mine didn't have one. And it doesn't have the mounting clips, so I've just left it as is. I do have a neon light if I ever want to install one down the road. I just haven't done it yet. The machine next to it's also a pretty rare machine. This is my only French machine I own. This is a Conti. And up until recently, I actually didn't know what the model name was. I believe it's called it's a Super Express, I believe is the model name, but they didn't make too many of these machines either. I think there's 6 that I know of. Paul Pratt has one, and then there's a few others hanging out there. There's 4 1 groups and 2 2 groups. There was another 2 group that was destroyed in a 1960s film, apparently. Very sad. This is a very early Conti machine when they were still in Paris. They're now in, I believe, Monaco. They did that move in 1956. This machine's from 1955. It's very, very bulbous 1940s-esque looking machine. I like the form. It's simple but not. Has the Princess Leia side panels.
Yeah. And that group is.
It's actually, I suspect that takes the same piston seals as the later Contis, like on the Conti Princess and Empress. I just haven't really looked at it too closely. I'm not sure when I'll work on this machine. It doesn't work. So the Marte works, the Internazionale works, needs work. Most of these machines upstairs should work, including the ones down on the bottom.
Oh yeah, you gotta look at. By the way, there are machines down here.
Yes, both 2 grinders. They're both 3-phase, so I can't test them. I don't have a phase converter, not yet, anyways. The Faema Zodiaco 70s machine, 1977, same as the President. Internally, just updated boiler and different weird brown panels that the 70s people like to apparently use. Cat.
Important part of the collection.
Yeah. She's very chill. It's a Scottish fold. Hi. And then that's the main. This is the daily driver. It's a Faema Urania from 1962. Has a neon light that I installed. It's all original. I haven't really done too much on the exterior. Besides the light, internals are all done, of course. This is the one that's on the timer. You might hear it in the background, the little ticking noise. So this is the machine that I'll have hooked up to a flow jet with the drain that I empty every so often. Just a 5-gallon jug that I just throw the various minerals into. There's my other cat. Actually, I just realized. But yeah, when I use a machine and I get up in the morning, this is the machine I'll use. Whatever's on this bench. With the Murano glass lamp on top. And we got that to match the Bosco, by the way. That's why we have that one. We paid like €30 for that thing. That was a good purchase. Coming over here, this is where it all began. This is the original modern espresso machine. It's a Gaggia Classica, 1953. I actually use this as a daily driver. It's a very interesting machine to use because I have to wait 2 to 3 minutes to not have portafilter sneeze and the way I have it configured. But it's a very, very cool machine to use. It's one of the few machines I can actually move myself. So I'll almost huddle it like that when I lift it up. I have to take off the drip tray, but it's a very heavy-duty machine. I actually saw this machine when I was in Italy, living it. Visited a guy in Salerno. I couldn't buy it at the time. I couldn't afford its price. But 2 years after that, I actually was able to contact him, and I bought the machine from him for like half the price he was originally asking, almost. And he shipped it over to me. The Plexi is a replica. That's a Paul Pratt product that he made for me. Very nice of him. It's a 5-liter boiler, very narrow. It's about 6 inches wide. maybe 5. I don't know. It's very tiny. I don't have a screwdriver. Yeah. So that's that guy. It's from 1953. The one below it's from 1957. It's a Faema Mercurio. You saw that. If you saw the video from like a year ago, he was over there on the brown table behind me. He's now down here. I got 2 more wood tables for display purposes. Not too much to say. It's another 5-liter boiler, I think. A little squatter than this guy. Has brown bakelite. He was an earlier project, or he only has a mater piece that. I probably add a Searide now, if I could do it, and I might do that not too long from now. So that's most of the machines in this room. Actually, all the machines. Then there's one machine hiding in the corner. The Gaggia LL or TEL, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, it's just I'm running out of space. So okay. 2 of these machines are mine. It's the little Pavoni Eurobar, and then we got the Cimbali Eleva. So I was mentioning downstairs somewhere that the Rubino has the same style of boiler as this guy. We can actually take a look. This one's made of stainless. Some of them are made of copper, but my boiler is stainless steel. Yeah, the machine is on. We can use it. Hot. But yeah, it's 5-liter boiler. I do have a nice little Searide. They're now Asco. They got bought out. It's an interesting machine. Has a very strong spring. Like, you have to grind pretty fine on this machine, or you'll gush very easily. This was a neat machine to work on. This was the 3rd and final machine I bought from Francesco in Rome. I've worked on all the machines, and they all work now. Pretty neat. I have not used them as a daily driver yet. Actually, I haven't used them too much, but it's an interesting machine. Very 70s. Oh yeah, the Pavoni. That's a Eurobar, so it's a professional. But they put a box around it, nice orange box around it, and they added a thermosiphon loop. So this is not a dipper, that's a thermosiphon. So that little tiny group that is notorious for overheating will not overheat on this machine, ever. And I stand behind that statement. It will never overheat.
Yeah, but you can kind of see that underneath it looks exactly the same. Yeah, I mean, temperature management on these is notoriously a problem.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. Well, I know. I used the professional.
Yeah,
I used the professional, the one that didn't overheat as much, but still pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Yep. Just
looks exactly the same.
I had to do a braze. I did a braze fix on that one. So I had to braze this fitting, and then there was a crack I had to braze up as well in the boiler. Apparently these boilers crack pretty easily, and I don't know why. The boiler's brass, so who knows why, but it works. It hasn't been failing or anything, which is nice. That's a fun machine to use. It is 220, but I have a 220 outlet, so I'm all set. So I believe that's most of the machines. Oh, the one in the garage. I forgot about that one. Bring it out into the light.
To the light? Right, what do we have here?
This is a 2-group 1959 Gaggia America. It's a friggin' heavy machine. It's actually nice. I like the shape. Actually, one of the machines I'm waiting in Italy, it's a 1-group Gaggia America, so this is technically a duplicate. This is a very, very heavy machine. Like, I don't know if I can move this downstairs without taking it apart, to be honest, because I can't easily take off the body panels because it's kind of integrated with the frame. Because, screw you, little man. Each group, 23 pounds, so it's like almost 50 pounds just in the group heads. It's ridiculous.
They're huge. I mean, these are huge.
I could say some TOS things about it. I'm not, yeah. Click. Nice click. Yeah, the nice thing about these machines when they're this heavy is they don't tilt, they don't wobble, they're just rigid. They just sit there and they take all punishment that you throw at it. This is a nicely preserved machine. Someone worked on it. I don't know when, but it has been redone on the inside. Like the frame's been painted and all that. It still needs some work probably. Not many people will service the groups because it is kind of a pain to do unless you got the right tools for it, which I do. Take a look.
What? Oh.
Take a look at the bumper sticker that I got from Bosco. Oh, it's starting to see air bubbles. Damn it, I didn't apply it correctly.
Well, yeah, there you go. That is Ryan's current collection at the end of 2023. Yeah, we're just outside chilling in beautiful.
It's actually not too hot now.
Rhode Island. Yeah. But yeah, that's Ryan's collection. Want to thank him for showing this all off, and we're in beautiful Rhode Island. So yeah, really cool collection. Check out all of his socials. I'm gonna link it in the description. And you know, I think this is just such a cool setup. One of the only guys who are still doing this today.
I mean, it's just me on the East Coast.
Yeah, well, the only guy on the East Coast.
I mean, if Ken Baki wanted me to visit him in Seattle, he has to go far to find.
But yeah, thanks guys for spending time watching this video, and we'll see you around.